Howdy, folks. It's your boy here, and welcome back to another Fire Emblem Datamine. So we got the stats here by our homies Gengar and Tsukasa for the upcoming FE7 banner. Alright, also we've got Wallace's skills, and then we also have the new Hall of Forms lineup, and we do, of course, have the artwork for everything as well. So let's go ahead and start things off with the stats here for these new characters. And we're going to start things off with Eliwood, who, by this point, I think everyone is already aware that I goofed up on the C skill, where I misinterpret it as being able to block Loki and Thor's ability to turn off bonuses, which it actually doesn't. It's worded in the same way as Needhogger's ability, the dosage effect, which only works on Nurgle and Tina specifically. So you're not going to be able to block Loki. You're not going to be able to block Thor. At least not with Eliwood's C skill. You would need Mythic Tiki to be able to do that. So, yeah, my bad, guys. But I'm not using Needhogger. So, when I use units frequently, I'm more up to date on what they actually do. It's been a hot minute since I've used either of the Needhoggers. So, I didn't really have that one completely down pat. Okay, so stat-wise for Eliwood, we've got here 40 HP with a Bane. We got 48 attack, 48 speed with a Boon, 41 defense, 18 res, and 195 overall BST. So, yeah, not really arena-worthy. Not at that level. Maybe at 196. If he could jump into the 200 bin, we might have thought about it. But, a little bit too low right now for arena. Not really much else to say. His Echo skill is Momentum, which is pretty fire to just get as an Echo skill out of nowhere. It's definitely one of the top options you can go for your Flyer and Cavs, which is pretty much what Momentum is available to. I think Infantry as well, right? I think Infantry gets it, but I don't remember if Infantry got Momentum. Either way, the main selling point to him still, though, is his C skill, which can be given to basically any melee Cav, and then it's just going to shut down Nurgle's ability. Nurgle is a little uncommon still, but when he does show up, it is nice to essentially make sure he does nothing. So having that C skill is pretty big for that. And not even that, too. Like, it is a counter-pick C skill to Nurgle and Tina. But you got to keep in mind, it's still like a really good C skill regardless. It's giving stat bonuses, the status effect itself, Essence Cancel, or Drain Cancel, whatever it was called. That also just gives you all stats of 4 in combat anyway. So it's like, you're getting that, and then you're getting true damage based on how many allies on the map have it. So you're not really running it as a counter pick or even at a loss. You're just running it, and then the cancel drain effect is just a throw-in at that point. So I think people are underselling how useful the C skill is. Also, I've heard people saying it's useless on ARO, but keep in mind, Tina does show up from time to time on Aether Raid's defenses. So just some food for thought. I think Eliwood is probably the most enticing unit on the banner, either him or Ninian. Now, Ninian is actually a pretty solid dancer overall. She's definitely among the 3 best dancers in the game now, Legendary Ninian and the Bunny Plumeria being the other 2. But this new Ninian is just, like, significantly better than Legendary Ninian. She's just Legendary Ninian on crack. So, if you were running dancers still, which I don't know why you would when we have Byleth Ring, then this Ninian would pretty much be your go-to choice. So we have here 42 HP, we got 46 attack, we got 48 speed with a Boon, we got 23 defense with a Boon, and then 26 res with a Bane. Overall, 185 BST, which makes sense. These dance units always get reduced BST. I don't really know why. Like, is it necessary? But I guess whatever, who cares? Now, Ninian also has the same B skill as Eliwood, which is interesting. They have Impetus Guard. So that's kind of neat. And then her A skill is Sly Swift Sparrow again, which we've seen a million times already. Eliwood's A skill was Blue Sky Gust. And him being an attuned hero, he can actually use it for duplication. So, I mean, this guy is kitted out right out of the box, Eliwood, for being a fodder bank unit. Ninian, not so much. She's not a fodder bank. She's an entwined hero. So you would be using her for the bouquet if you wanted. I'm not really the biggest fan of the bouquet. It's not like it's a bad buff. It's okay, especially if you're going to take advantage of the S+ support that you get from it. But I don't really care. Personally, the way I play this game, I don't really use supports. Unless it's tied directly into the unit's kit, like, for example, the Wind Tribe dagger from a while back where she had to be ally supported to give the Pathfinder effect. Unless it's something like that, I really don't go out of my way to get support on characters. So, yeah, it is what it is. Ninian is a pretty good unit, though. All right, then we have the demo of the banner. We've got Marcus over here. Very surprised to see him, finally. I thought when we finally got him, he was going to be old man Marcus. But no, we did end up getting FE7 Marcus instead. So stats are 40 HP with a Bane, 48 attack with a boon, 34 speed with a Bane, 31 defense with a boon, and then 37 res. BST is 190 overall, so RIP. Guy is completely worthless. He has, what, Def Res Clash 3? And then, what was his B skill again? I can't even remember. But it's nothing important. This guy doesn't really come with anything good, unfortunately. Even his weapon is like, whatever. It's not a terrible weapon, but we do certainly have some better swords going around at the moment. Arena Sword, for example, Arcane Renegade, stuff like that. Okay, then we have Lowen, who surprisingly is not a demote. But let's take a look here. So we got 44 HP. We got 47 attack, 38 speed with a boon, 49 defense with a boon, and then 17 res with a Bane, 195 BST overall. So he ties with Eliwood there in terms of BST. And his skills were okay. His weapon is just like got a super crux debuff on it. Kind of reminds me of Gatekeepers a little bit. The Winter Gatekeeper, where he's giving true damage, he's giving stats, and then he's giving additional effects with his crux buff to the allies. So Lowen is doing something similar. He's not really doing much else out of that, though. So primarily you'd be just tossing him on the team for that. It's like free stats and then exposure and stuff to allies. So he is contributing if he's there, but he's not really doing much else to separate himself, if that makes any kind of sense. Think of units like Isadora from before, where she was an interesting support unit, or like Sane as well. Sane was an interesting support unit with the rally and second action back when he came out. Kind of feels like Lowen is in a similar spot where he's doing some interesting stuff, but probably not worthy. And then finally, we got Wallace. Dude, I was waiting on this guy forever. I was wondering if they were even going to release him at all. But here he is. Now, here's the true bald-headed master. Reese can get the hell out. Wallace, when he shows up in FE7 and you're forced to promote him, it's peak. Like, at that moment, and then he's spitting, too. He's, like, talking to him. Telling the enemies he's a giant among men and all that. Like, this guy is fire. So, okay, he's an Armored Lance. I'm already predicting he's going to be pretty useful. He's got 51 HP with a boon, 49 attack with a boon, 28 speed with a boon, 48 defense, and then 35 res. Overall BST is 211, so yeah, exactly as I thought. He's pretty much the new Raphael. He's actually a Lance unit, though, which is also pretty good. If you've been building the recent arena armors, like the ones that came out post-Marnie, basically like a majority of them are green. Like Raphael, for example. The only one we got that wasn't green was the Fallen... Well, I was going to call him Fallen Robin, but it's just straight up Grima, right? That recent Robin that was a blue armor. So those are the options, but Wallace is going to actually outscore that Robin because he's got 211 BST, and stat-wise is okay, but what I've been doing with these armored score bots in Arena now is I don't even run them as save units. I just... Basically, I gave them Edelgard's kit, the Strat Flame and Strat Assault, because those skills are pretty bonkers. And then now you're free to give your arena units stuff like Swap Gate, Repo Gate, Byleth Ring, Edelgard Ring, and they actually serve a purpose now. So the score bots are not doing too shabby anymore. So Wallace, definitely a good, fantastic unit choice. And also a fantastic GHB by the looks of it. Great merge project to go for. I'm going to have to do a builds video for him, actually, considering how good he turned out. And also, I'm very surprised by the unit selection on this banner. These back row here, the back three, having Marcus, Lowen, and Wallace, like, these are all brand new characters added to the game. So if we could just see this more often going into the future, that would be great. Okay, so we have all that covered. let's go ahead and take a look at the artwork for the new units. Or, actually, before that, let's take a look at Hall of Forms. Because I think people are probably wondering what gives, why I didn't do this first. So, our options are going to be Young Ike. We got Yukata and Nefany. That's the duo Nefany with Sakura for some reason. Still don't know what they have in common. Then we have Yukata Mia, and then we have Yukata Lucia. So, a bunch of those characters from the Summer Yukata banner. Young Ike is interesting. I don't know why they didn't just go with, like, Desert Ike or something, but I guess it is what it is. Are any of these any good? Probably not. Yeah, some people might want to go for Nefany and Sakura, which I guess, but they're not really a current unit right now. They're not really... Like, for example, a unit that would just be better than them is the Winter Ivy, I would say. So, yeah, and even Winter Ivy is not, like, super common. But, yeah, there you guys go. Those are the Hall of Forms units. Not that crazy this time around. And then, finally, let's take a look at the artwork. So, we got Eliwood here wearing Hector's clothes with his weapon. Just like Attuned Hector was the complete role reversal of this with Eliwood's clothes and Eliwood's weapon. It would have been nice if they gave them effects that reciprocated each other's outfits. Like, if Hector had abilities based on Eliwood, like the bonus doubler support and stuff like that, the effective against Dragon and Beast, that would have been pretty fire. And then if Eliwood had some stuff from Hector, like Distant Counter, maybe some kind of save effect, even though he's not armored, that would have been interesting. So they could have did a lot more with this concept, but for what it is, I guess it's fine. Nice special attack there. And then the injured artwork there, pretty cool. Now, what's interesting about this, too, is that Eliwood never gets to use axes in FE7. He's locked to sword and lances only. Hector is allowed to use swords when he promotes, so he gets swords and axes, but... I mean, this is a completely brand new thing for Eliwood there. Alright, then we have Ninian over here. People have said that she's wearing Nils' outfit, but, like, that's not even the problem that I had with this outfit. The outfit is not the problem for me. It's, like, her face just looks really generic there. I don't know. This pose makes it a little better, but... I don't know. Ninian, to me, always felt like a more standout character. Mainly because of the way her hair is drawn. Like, her hair, it's very obvious to tell when it's Ninian. But here, it doesn't really resemble some of the traits that Ninian usually has. I'm not explaining it very well, but... Yeah, to me, that's what it is. Alright, so there's her artwork. Next up, we got Marcus. This guy is very orange. Dude looking like a tangerine over there. Okay. Alright, nice special. Actually, that's pretty fire. Literally. For a demo art, that's not too bad. Alright, then we got the injured artwork there from Marcus. Okay. Alright, so Lowen, who just raided the pantry, got himself a nice big old pretzel bun there. That pretzel bun looks tasty. Alright, so here is the attacking artwork. Alright, then we got the yeah, look at all the food, man. This guy is the food head. He should team up with Ilyana. They should raid the pantry together. Alright, and then we have the injured artwork from Lowen. Lowen, I believe, is Rebecca's boyfriend. But the real character that I would like to see added to the game for Rebecca is Dart. Because I want to see what they're going to have to say to each other in a forging bond. They never get to speak. Like, they don't have a support conversation in FE7. But... it is very heavily implied that Dart is Rebecca's long-lost brother. So, getting to see more in-depth analysis on that in a Forging Bonds would be great. And then finally, we got the Chad over here, Wallace. Old man. He's basically like Kratos of Fire Emblem. Wallace the Godslayer. Alright, very nice artwork. Oh, that's pretty fire, too. The only thing it's missing is the chain on the lance. That would have been peak if they gave him that. Alright, there's a special attack. Again, pretty nice. And then finally, we got the injured artwork there from Wallace. So, yeah, definitely a worthy unit to build up. Definitely a worthy unit for a builds video, as is... well, I mean, I'm going to do a builds video for the Hall of Forms, but this one is pretty whack. Nothing too stand out there, unfortunately. So this is your boy Tacho signing out. Let's just quickly refresh, make sure we didn't miss anything important. All right, they have spoilers for the story, but I don't really want to get spoiled right now, so we'll skip that. And yeah, that's basically it. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will catch y'all again on the flip side.